to Straight Facts with Lee Gunner and me, Terry Flewis. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, get your super chats and member chats in. But Lee, how are you looking mighty fine there in pink?
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm not bad. It offsets my complexion.
No, wait, honestly, it's about the same. But like my t-shirt, about the same color as your skin. It's like it's a big old suit.
Yeah,
it's a big old
having
suit.
a nice little rosé to go with my rosé t-shirt.
I know. I don't. I've got some pink pills, but that's about it. That's all I've got in here right now.
I don't really know about what they do.
No, these are really good. These are really good for. This stuff's really good for heartburn. It's amazing. It's fixed me up proper. Brilliant stuff.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
Viewers, hit like buttons and subscribe. Lots to talk about today. Arsenal done deal, which we'll get into. We're looking at Caicedo to Chelsea. Could Neymar be on? Especially now that Nkunku out for 3.5 to 4 months. A big blow for Chelsea Football Club. And as Man United looks set to sell Maguire and McTominay for a combined 80, we thought it was 60 yesterday. It's going to be about £85 million for the pair. Man United look to bring in Jean-Claire Todibo to the football club. I'll be telling you all about him later on the show. We're going to be reviewing the Community Shield, but looking ahead at the start of the Premier League today to get Lee's predictions surrounding that. Terry can't get it up. No, this is not for performance. This is not. That's a blue pill, my bro. This is, yeah. No, this is just like it's herbal stuff to help with heartburn. It's really good. It's really good. I got it off of Instagram.
There you go. So Terry's a punter. He'll buy anything.
Mate, do you know what? Like, I tried everything. I've had such bad heartburn the last year, and I bought this stuff.
String milk.
Perfect. No, it don't work for me. No, don't work for me. Don't work for me.
No, it refunds quite a lot. Yeah. And tiny little glass of milk, just down it, job done.
I'll give that a go. Speak for us a bit. Your mic's playing up.
Mate, this Mac's playing up. It's about 50 degrees in this gas.
That's fine again now, mate. That's fine. You're back with us. Look, I wanted to start off with Chelsea because I've had so much news flying about today. The first bit, 3.5 to 4 months, and Nkunku's going to be out 16 weeks. How big a blow, in your opinion, is that for Chelsea? Literally on the eve of the new season.
Crazy, man. Like it don't rain, it pours for Chelsea, doesn't it? Literally, they've been in the mud. They've been sat down in 12th. They've got no European football. They've then got the manager in that they want. He's getting players out that he wants out, getting players in that he wants in. They've waited since January to get Nkunku in. And you're looking at it thinking if they can drop Caicedo in next to Enzo with Nkunku in front, they're cooking. They're doing a lot better. At the bare minimum will be literally top 6. Yeah, but that's a massive blow for them, man, because he's a top player first and foremost. But Poch is probably ripping his hair out because he was probably going to be one of the focal points of that team. Yeah, he was going to probably start nearly every game. Yeah, and to have him out right on the eve of the season, man, like they've now got to go and dip into the transfer market and sort that right out. Yeah, and they're going to have to spend quite a lot of money to replace him as well, like because there's a lack of goals in that team without him. You know, yes, they've got a couple of wingers. They've got Mudryk, but listen, he ain't really done anything since he's got there. Lukaku's looking like he's going. Where's the goals coming from without Nkunku in the team? I'm kind of struggling.
And where's the link between the midfield and the attack? And I think that he was very much going to be a pivotal part of that. I watched 2 or 3 of their preseason games, and he did look good. Linked up well with Jackson. He linked up well with Enzo in the midfield. It's a huge. Listen, as a rival, I don't ever like to see anybody get long term. You don't mind if you're playing a rival on a Sunday and someone tweaks a hamstring and misses a week. I never wish injury upon any footballer or anybody like that. I think it's a bit too cruel. As a rival, though, it's a positive because it's a big damage for Chelsea. And it's massive. And I've said the Caicedo deal we'll move on to. They need to get that over the line, even more so now, because to go into the start of the Premier League with no Caicedo, now no Nkunku, and just Enzo, it puts a lot of pressure on, I just don't think Gallagher's good enough. I don't think anybody, there's too young, too inexperienced. And if they start the season slowly, there's 2 issues that happen. And I know Chelsea fans will agree with this. A lot of Chelsea fans are impatient, first of all, and they'll hype up more pressure. And secondly, you don't want any of the like almost PTSD from last season, the feeling of losing, the inability to score, the inability to win creeping into this new campaign. And I know that it makes Poch's job even harder, even more difficult. And look, they're linked to Neymar. And I know that Nazir Kinsella has kind of poured cold water over that today by saying they're not in talks. The French media say they are. I think they have to now go and look at someone like a Neymar who can play in that 10 role or somebody else. They can't be waiting until November to get one of their stars into the team, especially as anyone else they sign now is going to have no preseason under Poch. You know, it's ended up being not a mess for Chelsea this summer because they got rid of a lot of players, but it's an awful start to the campaign to them. They play Liverpool on Sunday, and yeah, I do feel genuinely, I feel sorry for them. I really, really do. No lie. I really, really do. Nathaniel here says, Nkunku out for 4 months. Time to get Elise and another attacker. No penny pinching.
Chelsea. Elise is a top player. And I said to you last week, I think they will get Elise. Yeah, but because I think he'll get more game time there than he will at Man City. And that's why I think he'll go there. Plus, it's around the corner from where he is at Crystal Palace. It's not a million miles away, is it? So he won't have to relocate. But he ain't enough to get them flying up the table. He really ain't. They need a banger. Yeah, and they need, like you said, he's a link guy, but he's a winger. Yeah, they need a central attacking midfielder that is of, excuse me, that is of a top level. Yeah, somebody that can bag 10, 12, 15 goals a season, but also create 10, 12, 15 goals a season. Yeah, and they also need a striker now. Yeah, because Nkunku, we don't know how good he was going to be, but based off of previous and what we've seen of him in Champions Leagues, in that league that he was in, you know he's going to be dangerous. You know he's going to create. I think he'd hit the ground running. I can't lie. I think he's a top player. But now he's out. Is Elise going to come in and play in the 10? I don't think so.
I think, do you know what? I know that there's an agreement in principle, but I think they've got to go and sign Mohamed Kudus. I really do. I think he's talented. I think he's brilliant. He can play attacking midfield. He can cover as a striker. He can also cover on that right wing as well. Maybe now with the injury, you get Elise and you get Mohamed Kudus. You get both of them. Why not? If you were going to get one or the other without this injury, I think you've got to 4 months, and then you've got to get time to get match fit again. You're looking at 5 months. Exactly. And look,
so he could, like we've seen with Gabriel Jesus. He had knee surgery. He's come back now. He's had knee surgery again. So and the thing is, with a knee injury, like the knee supports your whole leg, top and bottom. Yeah, you could do a hamstring, you could do a calf, you could do a quad, you could do whatever. Like a thigh injury, like a groin strain. It's all connected. So listen, that we're not going to see hardly any of him this season. He'll be out for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Months. Yeah. Then when he comes back, he'll probably do a calf injury and he'll be out for another couple of months. Yeah. And it's a shame for Chelsea fans, but listen, I don't feel sorry for him. Yeah, you said you feel sorry for him. Why? F him.
It's true. It's definitely true. This here says, good evening, good day, Terry and Lee. Everyone smash the like button. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. When Caicedo is in, hijack Kudus to piss Brighton off. The Kudus deal is really interesting because the way it reads in terms of what I've read across socials is almost the clubs have agreed the fee, but the player is essentially holding out. And for me, he's holding out because Chelsea and Arsenal are interested, because you'd much rather join Chelsea or Arsenal than Brighton, with all due respect. Of course you would. So it's an interest. Yeah. Again, I say for Chelsea, you can't go and sign Kudus if you want him before you get Caicedo, because Tony Bloom will add 10 million. He'll just say no. He'll
say jog on. Yeah.
Yeah, it could happen. This here says, I'm so gutted about Nkunku. My excitement for the start of the season has dwindled. We should go in for Kudus. He hasn't agreed terms with Brighton yet. Yeah, I agree. And look, listen, I know some players come from the Eredivisie, they don't do too well, but we saw Timber make his debut at left back the other day and look brilliant because he can go forward and defend. Who knew that was possible in football? So yeah, listen, if Kudus comes in and is as good as him.
He's everything that Arsenal fans think Zinchenko is, by the way. Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, Timber. Everything Arsenal fans think Zinchenko is.
You know what's mad, right? I'm going to say this. I said this the other day. It's one performance, but it reminded me of Dennis Irwin, a right back, right-sided defender who can play left back and looks at home. I was honest when you started him there, and I will get onto this a little bit later in the stream. I thought he could get exposed. He's right-sided. He looked at home. He looked comfortable. He looked very, very good indeed. Big up Lee on Arsenal fan with standards compared to, we'll come back to that one.
Big up SG, man. All my fans are in the chat. Yeah.
I love it. The Rat Army's here. We'll come back to that one later when we're talking Arsenal, bro. Terry versus Lee, the main event on TFT. The entertainment this brings can't be matched. Big up both. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Big up, my guy.
If Chelsea act like a big club, go get both Kudus and Elise. Yeah.
Well, listen, they're not that expensive either. Let's be real with it.
You're
both for less than 100 million.
No, mate, it's 40 for Kudus, 35 million for one, and 25 for the it's about 70 million for the two. It's not that expensive in this
then
series.
They can still go and get a swap deal for Lukaku and Vlahovic, and then all of a sudden it looks totally different, doesn't it?
Bang! You add Vlahovic, Elise, Kudus, and Caicedo to this Chelsea team now. You won't notice, you won't notice Nkunku being missing per se. When he comes back, it'll be a big boost. If you add those players now, this injury becomes insignificant, and you're buying class players. There's a way out of this for Chelsea, but it just means spending money. Jamie here says, "Big up Lee and Terry. Do you think we'll get Qatar?" Maybe one day. They're just waiting for more money. I still think it's the club's up for sale still. The Glazers just they get you right near the edge and then they pull it away. They take you to the edge. And there was a video that came out yesterday that had a bit of Roy Keane in it, and the colors of the Man United badge and the Adidas badge were like the same rare red maroony type color as the Qatar flag, and everyone was like, "Oh, that could be it." I'm like, "No, it's Adidas. Adidas will have nothing to do with the announcement of us taking over." But yeah, no, I don't know. Not just yet. Maybe hopefully we will, but we will see.
I think they will. But if you don't end up getting them, yeah, then I'm kind of a bit worried that they'll go and buy Tottenham. Yeah,
yes.
Because Abramovich tried buying Tottenham once upon a time before he signed and bought Chelsea. So, and Tottenham have now redeveloped that whole area. Yeah, they've got a brand new stadium that looks insane. Yeah, they've got all the gigs there. They've got the boxing. They've got F1 go-karting there. They've got everything covered in a decent football team. But they are very attractive in terms of the income, yeah, and where they could go to if Qatari's going, mate. And I think if you don't get that deal done, yeah, they'll probably just get bored and say, "Bollocks, we're going to buy Tottenham." I genuinely think that. And if they do, mate, then maybe, just maybe, if that lot won a title, maybe our fans will grow a backbone.
So maybe with us, maybe with our fans as well. That you hear the Man United fans are planning a sit-in, so they're going to stay in the ground after the Wolves game to protest. And I'm like, okay, so the Glazers that you say are money hungry, you're going to go to the megastore before the game, buy programs, buy burgers, buy cans, buy Coke, spend money on your ticket, and then you think they're going to give a damn about you doing a sit-in protest when they're in Florida? Don't even care. It's like, honestly, it's mad. I wanted to ask you about Neymar. Neymar's been linked to Chelsea. As I said, some cold water's been poured over it. However, it's one of those open links. Chelsea could get Neymar. Do you think they should sign him?
Yep. Any team on the planet should sign Neymar or want Neymar or like try and get Neymar, whether it be a loan, whether it be buying him. Yeah, the guy has won a trophy every year since 2009.
Wow. Literally
every single year. And all of these people, I see so many people cussing him. Listen, I think he's a fantastic footballer, and I've always said Mahrez is better. That was tongue in cheek, yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, could Neymar do it at Leicester? Yeah, put Mahrez in that MSN. He's still bagging goals. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it is semi tongue in cheek. I rate them both. Neymar's a better footballer than Mahrez. Let's just put that out there. But it's the drama and the baggage that comes with it. But then you have to weigh up the option. Is the drama and the baggage worth getting him in when you know that he has a proven track record of winning trophies every single year? Yeah, he elevates your club. You know, he brings in massive revenue streams. Yeah, he'll pay for himself. Yeah, I'd imagine if he signed for Chelsea, mate, that would be the world record shirt sale. Yeah, Neymar number 9 or number 7 or number 10, whatever number he has. Yeah, that would probably be the quickest selling shirt to 1 million shirt sales ever. Yeah, and it'll probably be one of the biggest for a football team, especially in English football. But I think they should sign him. I think we should sign him. You should sign him. Why would you not want Neymar at your club? And I know we had a debate on this a couple of weeks back. Yeah, and you were saying, oh, but he's always injured and he only plays after the league games and he has to go and see his sister every year and like this and that, right? But when he's in the team, instantly that defender's shook. That whole defense is shook. It's Neymar. 1 minute he's at right back, picking up the ball, jinking past you lot and scoring at the other end. It was against you, he did that. Yeah, picks up the ball at the right back position, jinks, boom, 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 goal. Bro, he is absolutely insane. Yeah, I think he'd light the Premier League up. I really do. And I think Chelsea need a signing like that. Because, like, you look at the team, it's just, like, back in the day, they had John Terry, Drogba, Lampard, Petr Cech, even Courtois after that. They had top players, top players. I don't see any superstars in their team. I don't see a superstar in their team right now. They need a marquee superstar signing. Yeah, when you actually deep it, Mbappe could be available or is available. Harry Kane's available and Neymar's available. Why aren't any of our clubs going in for these three people, bro?
I get where you're coming from. I think with Neymar, you know my stance on it. I don't think he started more than 18 league games in a season for the past 6 to 7 years. And that's
wearing him out.
yeah. And that's a concern. Yeah, he's busy. But that's a concern for me. But I understand exactly where you're coming from, especially from a cost point of view. Could pay for himself. Someone did say on the show yesterday, though, it come up on the top 6 show yesterday, that maybe if he was at a Premier League club, he wouldn't be allowed to get away with certain shenanigans that lots of players have got away with at PSG over the years in terms of the professionalism is of another standard. The media scrutiny here is far more intense than it is in France. So maybe that kind of forces him to behave a little bit better. But look, I saw Chelsea.
I disagree with that because he's played in Spain and they're ruthless out here, mate. Yeah, they don't sit there pandering down and like.
No. But when he was in Spain, he was fit. He was playing and scoring. I'm saying since you've been in France, that's when the.
But he got that move and he was like, "I've made it. I'm sweet. That's me done. Chilling. Yeah, I'm chilling. Yeah, and when he's on the pitch, we know he's brilliant. Yeah, it's very rare that you'll see him drop a stinker when he's playing. Very rare. Like even when Man City played PSG in the Champions League semi, I think it was, like. He was doing like rainbow flicks. He was scooping the ball over Mahrez. Yeah, and ultimately Mahrez scored home and away. Yeah, but but my point is, he's a big game player. He'll turn up. And when he's on the pitch, the opposition are like literally they know they've got a tough day because the guy is so talented. It is unbelievable. But you have to hone into that talent. And you're right in a certain way. If he comes to the Premier League, are they going to allow him to do that? Yes, the media will cuss him left, right, and centre. But don't you think they're doing that in France? The difference is, in the newspapers, Neymar probably don't even read them. But when the fans of PSG are outside your gaff, hounding for you to get out of their football club, that ain't happening in England because English football fans ain't on it. Yeah, the French are on it. Yeah, the Spanish are on it. The Italians are on it. The English football fans just sit on Twitter and chat crap. Yeah, whereas in France, no, we're coming to your yard, mate. We're pulling up 50 of us outside chanting, get out of here. Yeah, and I think with the media in England, it might be a little bit harsher. Does he give a shit about what's written on a screen? No, he probably cares who's turning up at his house. Yeah, and I do think if he comes to the Premier League, I do think he'll absolutely smash it. Can you imagine him up against some of the right backs in this league? Or even if you play him at number 10 or up front, it just
when he's fit and he's playing, I think he'll do a brilliant job. Nathaniel here says that Neymar is a must for Chelsea. I don't care about him in Nkunku's position. Why turn down a player like him who's world class and won everywhere he goes? Yep,
since 2009, I think he's the only footballer on the planet that has won a trophy every single season since then.
That's crazy. This here says a top talent, but not available enough joints of cheese is what's been said there, which I do get. Dan Walters says that we need someone like Barella, but that's unlikely. Yeah,
he's a good player. He's a very good player. But
he's decent. He's very, very decent. Yeah, look, I get the Neymar. I get the Neymar conversation. I don't see it happening personally, but I get where you're coming from. And the thing with Neymar is I've got my reasons why I wouldn't sign him. But when I say them, there's a part of my football soul that hurts because I know how good he is. Does that make sense? if Man United signed him, I know what would go through my mind. My mind would be, I'm so excited about what he could do for us, but I'm so worried that he's going to spend too much time out not to deliver. And that is what kind of worries me. But listen, I understand why a lot of Chelsea fans
set in stone before you get him, or before any club gets him. You have to have that conversation. Listen, you ain't taking the mick. You ain't going on holiday. You ain't going to make out you're injured. We've got the best doctors on the planet, mate. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you have to roll with it. I think he took a very easy way out to go to PSG because, like, listen, he was the main. Well, he weren't the main man. Messi was. Yeah, but that Messi, Suarez, Neymar, I don't think we'll ever see a better front three than that, mate. Yeah, that was just a joke. Absolutely insane. But he wanted to be out of Messi's shadow, and then he goes to PSG. And then Mbappe's the main guy.
And within 12 months, Mbappe's there. And then a few years later, Messi joins. Yeah. And sometimes the old-fashioned saying, like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think that Neymar...
You have to nip it in the bud with him, though. I do think he still wants to play football. And I do think that he still enjoys football. But I think that he's kind of fallen out of love with the game a little bit. Yeah, and like to go and get paid that much money. I feel be Brazil's main guy. You've got Brazil on your back. Yeah, like, and there's a media that are on your case, by the way. Jesus Christ, like, they don't care, mate. Yeah, but I think that the pressure sometimes, like, it's just like rather than man up a little bit, it's just like bollocks. I'm going on holiday. I'll make out I'm injured. Yeah, whereas I think if he has that purpose. PSG is not a massive football club. I think it was founded 10 years before I was born, Terry.
They're not a massive football club. And France is that, listen, and the only reason that the French league is seen as the fifth, I know there's a lot of, this is where people get confused. There's a lot of, seventh. There's a lot of great technical players that are developed in that country. The quality of football may be good. When I talk about the quality of the league, I'm just talking about how many people actually care to watch it. And if you're ranked 7th in Europe, no one cares about it. And I think that's the thing about legacy. It's why I'm so desperate for Mbappe to leave. Because look how big he is now. If he starts doing it in the La Liga or the Prem, he goes to an even greater level. Because over the course of a weekend, I'm telling you, I genuinely believe this. Over the course of a weekend, how many people actually watch Mbappe play? Very few.
Yeah,
we know that because of the low viewing figures of that league. If he was playing for Man City, if he was playing for Man United, if he's playing for Real Madrid,
suddenly got billions of eyes on him, man.
Billions of eyes a weekend are watching him, and he's already gargantuan. Imagine how big he will be. So yeah, look,
you know what's crazy? You've just made a really good point there, right? Because I see today that the Zone have just got the rights to the Saudi Pro League. Yeah, they've done a deal with the Saudi Pro League. Yeah, to air their games, which is great. Hopefully, it comes with my subscription for €24 a month. Then I can watch Ronaldo crying every week. It'd be great. I can watch my boy Mahrez every week smashing it, and Benzema. But they've just done a deal with the Zone to do that. I don't know how much the deal was. I didn't read into it. I just see the headline, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Yesterday, the top boy at Apple did an interview, or the day before yesterday. Did an interview and he said we've exceeded all numbers that we actually thought we'd get when Messi signed for this league. Yeah, and they're on Apple TV, aren't they? Yeah, the MLS. He said since Messi's come here, we're off the chart. We have gone way above what we expected in terms of subscriptions. Yeah, and Mbappe's the same. Neymar's the same. They're in that bracket. Yeah, and that is why one of our football clubs should take a chance on both of them. If not both, at least one.
Yeah, mate, I think it's a fair point. I think it's an absolute fair point here. Can you see Neymar going to Newcastle? They have the money.
Nope.
Too early for Newcastle. Maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, Neymar might be too old by then, but they're just a little bit too soon.
Newcastle is unbelievable city, man. Yeah, like, but he don't want to live there. It's miles away from anywhere.
Yeah. Newcastle can give Neymar a good contract and give him Champions League football. They can. I don't personally. Well, they actually can't. They're actually more constricted because they don't have the income still yet as a club. Although he would generate more income. Do you know how many Newcastle shirts will suddenly get sold? It would.
Do you know how many Newcastle shirts I'll be seeing with guys walking down the beach trying to flog them to me? Yeah, I've not seen one yet since I've lived here.
Mate,
as soon as Neymar or Mbappe signs for Newcastle, mate, the whole of the coast has got Newcastle shirts on.
Mate, 110%. Viewers, make sure you're hitting the like button for us. Make sure you're subscribing as well. We'll come back to Chelsea a little bit later when we do our season predictions on Straight Facts. Today we'll lead us. I'm saving mine until later. We'll be getting Lee's on this show. I wanted to, only because if I do them every day, people will get used to it. I've got to wait until the top 6 show on Thursday. But yesterday there was talk of £60 million for Maguire and McTominay. That's now changed today, and they believe it is possible that Man United are going to generate around 80 to 85 million pounds for the pair. Now, Lee, I have to ask you, how good a piece of business is that for Man United if they generate anywhere near 80 million pounds for Maguire and McTominay?
It's daylight robbery. They should be banged up. Real talk. They should be locked up if they can, even if they get 50 quid from them. Yeah, they've robbed you. They've robbed you. Yeah, let's be real with it. Like Harry Maguire, if anyone is dumb enough, yeah, to pay anything for that guy, yeah, I'm baffled. Like anything. Listen, yes, he's an England player. Yes, he does well for England. Yes, he's ex-Man United captain. But he's 30 odd years old now. I think he's 30, 31. Yeah, like, sorry, mate. If anyone's paying anything north of 10 million for him, they've been robbed. Yeah, and as for Scott McTominay, I think Scott McTominay gets a hard ride at times. He's not great. We know that. Yeah, he's a bit of a passion merchant, but he'll get stuck in. He'll run around a lot. He's just not very good. Yeah, and I think a West Ham, a Brentford, somebody like that, an Everton maybe, like teams like that, they need that gritty midfielder. I think somebody like that would do them well. And I think if I was a fan of them clubs, I'd be saying, yo, get me Scott McTominay in. Yeah, because he's a level up on what we may have, or he's a good option off the bench, or he can start certain games. But I wouldn't be wanting to pay more than 25 million for him. Yeah, you should be getting about 30 to 40 million max for them 2 players. If you get anything more than that, fair play to United.
I understand where you're coming from. I think when you think that Conor Gallagher, if he leaves, is going to go for 45. If Conor Gallagher's worth 45 million, so Scott McTominay, in my opinion, because
Conor Gallagher's way more talented.
I disagree. I hear what you're saying. I disagree. I think what you'll see, though, this is the thing for me. Both McTominay and Maguire for West Ham will deliver and look good. They'll both deliver and look good in that team and system to a point where if Man United don't progress further, we'll be ridiculed for selling them. Is
that where they're both linked to for that money?
Both West Ham. Yeah, both West Ham. So for me, playing for a pragmatist manager,
105 mil, tell.
Yeah, we're going to take 80 of it. And it's interesting. Like for me, I actually think they'll both do well for playing for somebody like a David Moyes. I think they'll both perform. I think they'll be even the pressure. Even if they have a bad game, no one's going to care. And
nobody cares. Exactly. Nobody cares.
That's it. So I think they'll do very well.
The thing is, it's whether they want to do it, though. That's the problem. When you're comfortable and you're getting paid top dollars to play for one of the biggest clubs on the planet, it was the same with Jesse Lingard. That must have been a tough decision with Jesse Lingard to leave Man United. And look at what's happened since he's left. He's done nothing. Yeah, so they're probably looking at that as well. They're probably mates with him. Yeah, and they're probably looking at it thinking, this is Man United. We'll just stay here and milk our contracts. Like Harry Maguire, I definitely thinking that he don't want to leave, mate. You're going to have to kick him out of the club.
What Man United are essentially going to have to do with Maguire if he leaves is 100k a week has been offered by West Ham. He's on 190 at Man United. United for the next 2 years will probably have to pay him that 90,000 a week, which isn't ideal. But at the end of the day, that's better than him being at the football club. You know, we're still going to get if we get a 30 to 40 million pound fee for him, some of that is going to be, 90 grand a week. So you're going to lose about 8 million of that in the wages you've got to pay. So when you net it off, you walk away with 30 million pound income from him.
Which is still daylight robbery, but you've got to
do it. Maguire is different, but I think it's for Man United, it's fantastic business. And then it's about what we do with it. And we're linked to this kid who, again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about him as being a well beater and being amazing. What I've read about him is decent. I think his name is, I might butcher the pronunciation, but it's a Jean-Claire Todibo, plays for Nice right now. I think it's pronounced Todibo. It's Todibo. So I pronounce it as Todibo. It's probably not pronounced that way in French, but that's how I read it as being English. So,
Jean-Claire Todibo.
Yeah, that's a much better French. That's a good French accent there. You definitely got a list of things.
Why do you look at me?
There we go. You're mimicking Wenger for all those years. Yeah, so we're linked with him, and for me, what I'm excited about is we could get this kid Todibo and Amrabat. I don't know how good this Jean-Claire is. I don't know how good he is, so I'm not going to see. No, I don't watch Nice. I haven't watched Nice play. So I'm not
you got Ratcliffe there, man. Like,
I know I should be keeping an eye on him. So, but Amrabat's such a big improvement on McTominay as an example. I'm just, as a United fan, just starting to get excited. We've got Donny that's on his way out, dead for us. Fred's on his way out.
Can I just stop? Sorry to cut you off. You said Donny's dead for you. No,
dead for Man United.
No, he just weren't given a real run of games. Yeah, he was just a appease the fan signing. Yeah. And it's mad that he's never had a real run of games. When he's played, he's not been fantastic. Yeah, let's not dress it up. He's a top player. There's a top player in there. He just ain't shown it at Man United. And he ain't been given a chance to show it for long enough.
That's why, for me, that's why I said dead for us, because I think there's a footballer in there. What I will say, and defend my club a little bit on this, is his favourite manager in the world joined. And he's still, I know he got injured, but still, he didn't give him a chance. And for me, I just think some people are just not suited. Diego Forlan's a great example. English football didn't suit him. Everything else did. Thierry Henry, Italian football didn't suit him. But look what he was doing in the Premier League as an example. So I sort of look at it and think to myself, sometimes it's horses for courses with him. But he's been dead for Man United. Glad he's moving on. Fred, the fact that by the end of this summer, De Gea, Maguire, Fred, McTominay, and Donny could all be at the football club, good money raised, and upgrading it. You know, at midfield with Onana coming in. Obviously, Casemiro is already here. Amrabat into the football club. Again, I'm not going to judge this new young lad that we're signing at centre-back too much because I haven't watched him play. I've read a few things. It sounds pretty good, but I'm not going to do what a lot of weirdos do and pretend like we all know who he was. And again, he's a player that I don't
watch the French league, Terry, but they're all experts.
It's not even about that, Lee. It's not even about that. With Urian Timber, I knew his name last year before he was linked to Man United because he'd been spoken about. And even like when I be on streams and I talk about transfers, people have mentioned his name. Does that make sense? Certain players, for years, you see their names in the chat rooms, people on Twitter talking about him, people gassing him up online. You learn about people. With this guy, I have never seen a single person mention his name, tweet his name, anything. So that's why I don't know nothing about him. I haven't watched him. I haven't heard about him. All I did today was Google a few things. I read a few scout reports. Sounds decent, sounds promising. Technically gifted on the ball. And as soon as I read that, I was like, well, that's because we're changing our style of football. We're going to play out from the back a lot more, and we need players that are more proficient. He seems physically very capable, which I think is key because you need physical. That was Maguire's biggest issue. It wasn't even his ball playing ability. It was the fact he turns like a fridge. And when you play with a high line, that's just going to get you exposed. And then because of that exposure and the pressure, he messes up with what he's actually quite good at, which is moving the ball around. Because in an England shirt and for Leicester, he's really good. But it's the pressure that gets to people.
Yeah, so yeah, the pressure at Leicester is different to the pressure at United. And not only that, for England, it's a slower game. So much slower international football. That's why it's boring. That's why nobody watches it. Let's be real. Like, you've got all these nations. The only time anyone watches it is a World Cup.
Man, no, I hear you. No, people don't watch it. People don't watch international football that regularly. You are Man United. Amrabat is not good enough. I just don't understand. Do you know what's really crazy, Lee? Like, you know me, I'm not someone who is. I know you'll disagree with part of this. I'm 50% eye test. I'm 50% statistics. In the sense of, if the stats don't match what I'm seeing, there's something I'm blinded by something. I need to be objective in this. But I keep hearing people say Amrabat is not technically good on the football, and all it makes me think is, all you've done is watch that clip of him tracking back and tackling Mbappe, and you don't watch him play football. Just even in the final recently against West Ham, yes, he broke up play well, but he was moving that ball around lovely. At the World Cup, moving the ball around lovely. Where's this rumor come from that he can't play football?
Nobody watches Italian football, mate. No, let's just be real with it. It always baffles me, like, how many people have Sky Sports screens everywhere. Like, their whole living room is full of 25 billion screens, and they're watching every game every weekend. Like, they're not. They're just watching little highlight reels. Yeah, and they never show you the bad side, do they? It's always, oh, look how good he is. Oh, the next Mbappe, the Mbappe is centre-backs, or the next Neymar, the Ukrainian Neymar. Like, always a hype one with anyone who looks half sensible. But then soon as you get a player that isn't aesthetically pleasing on the eye, which Amrabat isn't, yeah, straight away it's nah, he's crap. Well, let me tell you now, he's miles better than Scott McTominay. Yeah, and I think he's miles better than Fred. And Fred's a decent footballer. Yeah, I think he's better than him. Yeah, and I think that it's more about his game going like he can drop a shoulder and just charge through midfield. We've seen him do that. We see him in the World Cup doing that. Yeah, bro. We see him in the final doing that, and he can win the ball back. Yeah, very rarely out of position. He's always in between the centre backs, picking the ball up and driving forward. Yeah, and that worries teams. Like when you're running at somebody, it's like, oh, I don't really want to foul him. Like, so I'll pull out of that, or I won't go 100% on that. Yeah, he'll win loads of free kicks in the Premier League for Man United, especially with Casemiro next to him. Yeah, not for them free kicks. It's then how you go forward from there.
Do you know what's interesting for me? Again, I've heard people say he doesn't progress the ball. I've watched him do it, not just during the World Cup. I've obviously since then read more, watched more. I've seen I watched 2 or 3. I'm a lot out. 2 or 3 Fiorentina games last year. And then when I research players, I watch what they do. I don't watch compilations on YouTube. I research and watch games back, watch moments back, read in-depth scouting reports, have video evidence to back things up. To act like this guy can't progress a ball and can't break a line with a pass is crazy. Now, he's not Zinedine Zidane, Xavi, or Iniesta. But that isn't a benchmark to say if you're not at that level, you're not a good football player. If that's your benchmark, if you have to be at their level to be a baller, then 99.9% of all current footballers are not ballers. So it's crazy to me. Amrabat, technically proficient, good touch, good engine, good physically, great stamina, decent speed, very good passer. He is going to improve, and at 20 to 25 million pounds. That is a colossal improvement of Man United's midfield. And I think what it really comes down to is there's a lot of people that are scared, dare I say, of the improvements that Man United could make this year if we become a far more possession-based team, if we're harder to press, if we're harder to break through in terms of our midfield. That causes problems for people. And all I saw on my TL, and I'm not saying Gavin did this because I'm not going to call Gavin out. I've seen a lot of people, though, since the World Cup until the end of the season, when you guys were linked with Rice, but Amrabat supposedly outplayed him in that cup final, all I read and heard was Amrabat is a star. Now he's on the precipice of joining Man United. Suddenly he can't play football, hasn't got legs, he can't run, he's no good, he's not of United standard. Crazy. The flip-flop on this guy is utterly ridiculous, in my opinion.
Hashtag flip-flop.
No, it is. This is actually a super chat here that says Todibo is talented, but has attitude problems. And that's an interesting one. I don't know much about him, but he ain't going to have
name me a decent footballer who ain't. No, or just any footballer who ain't. Every footballer's got an attitude because they think they've made it. Yeah, I know one of my friends was in an executive box at the Emirates a few weeks back. Now, I think it was the Monaco game, so maybe it was last week. Yeah, and he was like, "Mate, we've got teenagers in the reserves strolling around in their Prada, their Gucci, their Fendi. Yeah, they're all pulling up in their 50, 100 grand motors. They've never kicked a ball for the first team, but they're all walking around like they own the gaff. Yeah, and it's like, but you're a youth teamer, mate. Yeah, every kid, yeah, that makes it a professional football has got an attitude. You have to have an attitude to make it in the first place. Yeah, because if you ain't got an attitude, you ain't making it. If you're weak, if you're not emotionally like in like a different space, like if you're a little bit weak with it. Yeah, the first sign of rejection, you're going to cry and go, I don't want to play football anymore. So you have to have an attitude. Yeah, then when you get your first contract, you've made it anyway, especially at Premier League clubs now. You don't even kick a ball for the first team and you're on 100 grand a week. Yeah, or 60 grand a week or 50 grand a week. For an 18 to 20-year-old who's getting paid 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a week and they've never played for the first team, they're driving around in 100 grand motors. They've got a massive £3 million gaff, yeah, that they're renting or whatever. Of course you're going to have an attitude.
Yeah, I think it's about how it gets nurtured. Look, what I'm going to look at is this. My manager handled the biggest ego in football and the team improved. You know, this guy, when it came out, did you see the clip from Rashford's interview where they spoke about him being disciplined and being dropped? He was 45 seconds late. But because it's late, it's like, and those things are, those sort of soft factors are huge because the way when Rashford said after the game, "Oh yeah, I was late." In my head, I just assumed half an hour or an hour late, overslept, 45 seconds late, and our best attackers dropped. That doesn't allow for someone who's got an attitude problem to damage the team in a bad way. Cantona had an attitude. Cantona was arrogant, but it was weaponized in a way to improve your team. I think a lot of top players have attitudes.
Thierry
like
Henry is one of the most arrogant players.
Yeah, but it was weaponized to make your team better. It wasn't something that hindered the team, and I think that's where you've got to get the balance right. So I'm not really too worried about that right now. This here says, Gunner, my brother.
Big up DBS, my guy, man. Can't Oregon Goon's a real one. I will reply to your messages at some point. I know you keep texting
me. CG says, hi, Terry and Lee. Win collab. Thank you, bro. Every week, every Tuesday, 3:30. McTominay for Scotland is worth 45 million, for United, 25. Yeah, I hear you. Nathaniel says, Terry, I respect you, mate, but Gallagher is better than McTominay. Plus, Gallagher has shown he can be a quality player. I'm going to say this. Maybe on ability, it's there. But McTominay has played both in the same league, but for a team with much more pressure in it. Man United got many games for us as an example. I don't remember. Yeah, big games as well. Had some really good games for us. You know, had man of the match performances in derbies and stuff. I need to see Gallagher take his ability and for it to work at least as consistently as McTominay's. For him to be, because everyone knows that's how I judge football. It isn't about your ability, it's about your application of that ability in games. And so far, at the highest level playing for Chelsea, I haven't seen enough from Gallagher. Maybe this season, though, under Poch, better system, better players around him, we will.
He'll be gone by the end of the window.
And if he's gone, he's gone, then there we go. It's like we're having a micro penis competition, but yeah, I get you. Would you sell Maguire to Leicester for 40 million? I'd sell Maguire to anybody for 40 million. Anybody can have him for 40 million. Super chat here for you, Lee. Are Brighton a well-run club? Discuss from Sharim.
Why are you trying to trigger me, bro?
You know, I did want to bring this up with you today, though. If they land Mohamed Kudus, he'll be the highest paid player ever. He'll be their record signing ever, and it's the most money they've ever invested in their history as a club. I'm not saying it's going to change your mind, but is that a case of? And this is where I want to test how fair you can be. Is that a case of...
Look at this reverse psychology.
No. Is that a case of continue to do that, and as your income grows, grow how much you spend, and I'll start to respect what you're doing? Is that a start? Is that like the start you want to see from them now? Breaking records and investing more?
I want to see them win something. Ultimately, it's about winning, Terry. Yeah, and they've not won anything major honour in their whole history. So... the fact that Kudus don't even want to go there kind of tells you everything, right? They want him. They've agreed a fee, but he don't want to go there. He's holding out for a bigger and better football club that has more chance of winning stuff.
I do get that, but that doesn't mean Brighton aren't well run. Like he's got Arsenal and Chelsea.
When you say well run, right? I'll give an example. When you say they were a well run football club. Yeah, great, fantastic, cool. Yeah. Would you say PSG are a well run football club?
No.
Would you say Barcelona are a well run? Yeah?
Not recently.
Well, exactly. Yeah, but Barcelona just won a league title whilst having to put players on lower wages, re-signing their contracts on lower wages, not being able to register players till they get players out. They're not well run, but they still ended up winning a title. And I know they're on a different starting point, to Brighton, but at the same time, Brighton for me have to win something. Yeah, and if they win something, then you can go, right, cool. Off the pitch, they're cool, but now on the pitch, they're actually trying to win stuff. And until they try and win stuff, which I don't think they will, because they're going to sell Caicedo for touching 100 million. Yeah, and I know they've spent quite a lot of money this summer, but they're still not going to win anything. So go above and beyond. Go and get a player. Yeah, Kudus could be that guy. We don't know. But for me, I just look at it and think they need a marquee signing. What marquee players want to go and play for Brighton? None. They'll go and get the cheap and cheerful deals that are stepping stones onto the better clubs that will win stuff, because they're basically Dortmund without winning anything. Yeah, they're a feeder club for every other club.
I hear where you're coming from. I just look at it this way: if they can't sign the top players because there's too many other big clubs that will beat them to those stars financially and because of the history, prestige, and their current standing, to becoming 6th in the Premier League is a very good achievement. I still think they're going to strive to get better and better. It's just going to take them a long time to catch the big boys. Viewers, let us know what you think in the comments section below. Keep smashing that like button as well. Arsenal news to come. We're going to be talking Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, and the others ahead of the new season as well. But I wanted to ask you, Lee, how impressed were you with your team at the weekend? Did really well against City, held out, got that late equaliser, held your nerve, won a trophy, good psychological victory. New signings looking good. You must have been proud as punch of your team, stopping 9 defeats on the bounce against City, showing that determination and setting yourselves up for the start of this epic campaign. You must be buzzed. You must be happy you won.
You're so hilarious. Do you know that? You say it with a straight face. Inside you're howling. Mate, well, listen, 2 games. We won a cup and a plate. All we need is a knife and fork and we're feasting. We beat Monaco and won the Emirates Cup. Ironically, again on penalties. We beat Man City on penalties. That game didn't really tell me a lot, apart from Timber's brilliant. And every other player that was on the pitch or did play didn't show me anything that I didn't already know, if I'm honest. And it was two teams that were way, way, way off of the pace and the levels they showed last season. Yeah, you could tell it was a pre-season game. Yeah, Declan Rice is still finding his feet. He's not been brilliant so far. Yeah, Kai Havertz still can't score. Can't finish his dinner. Well, we knew that. I think he was in the bottom 5. I think he was actually second for most big chances missed last season. Well, who knew? Yeah, he had 2 good chances. The top striker buries either one of them, or if not both. Saka didn't really do a great deal. Martinelli didn't really do a great deal. Thomas Partey's our most important player. Yeah, and our fans wanted him sold. Don't get it. William Saliba's a Rolls Royce. We knew that. Gabriel Magalhaes, fantastic again until he did the splits and was like 3 foot off the ground when Palmer scored the goal. Aaron Ramsdale still can't kick out from the back properly. So it wasn't really anything I didn't already know. Yeah, like the manager still don't know what his best 11 is. He's trying different things. He subs off our best player in Timber, and a minute later we concede. All of a sudden, this fan base is straight on Tierney. Yeah, we'll go and watch it back. What's Thomas Partey doing? What was Trossard doing? Oh, Trossard weren't even tracking back. Of course he weren't. Gabriel Magalhaes doing the splits, backing off of him, 4 foot off the ground. Weren't even top bins. The goalkeeper should have been better. Yeah, I'm not saying he should have saved it, but he should have at least got a hand on it. Yeah, it weren't right in the top corner. It was just off right centre. So we dug in. Yeah, on the flip side of that, yeah, that's all the negatives out the way. Yeah, on the flip side of that, he did make the other substitution that meant that Trossard came on the pitch, which ultimately got us the winner, the equaliser, sorry. Eddie Nketiah, there was at one point in stoppage time, I think it was Saliba booted the ball up to Eddie. He took a great first touch. And I remember saying to Ola and Matty, I was like, whoa, that's a sick first touch. Now let's go. And for about 10 seconds, he was the only player in their half in stoppage time. And I was like, we're really not trying to get back in this game, are we? Yeah, and then he run into traffic, 4 or 5 players around him. And it's like, again, Eddie, what does he do? Why is he ahead of Trossard? Why is Havertz ahead of Trossard? Why are they both coming on and starting games before him? That makes no sense. Trossard, I think, has got the most GA, if you want to go down the stats route, out of any player that we've signed or had at the club since January. Yet he sits on the bench for Havertz. That makes no sense to me. Yeah, he's a top baller. But listen, Fabio Vieira, sick winning penalty. Yeah, sick winning penalty. But Terry, let's just be real with this, yeah? It was 1-1. We drew the game. We didn't beat him. Yeah, we've done them on penalties, which is a flip of a coin. And listen, I'm happy we beat him on penalties. It's nice to get that off our back that we've beaten Man City now. But ultimately, when it counts, we're getting panned both games this season, which is why when people want to sit and chat rubbish about, oh, we're up against Pep, we're up against the best team in the world. There was none of this talk when Wenger was up against Fergie, the greatest manager I've ever seen. Yeah, winning trebles, winning 3 in a row, yeah, doing like madness every single season. And yes, I know we have a better squad back then than we do now. But the point is, we were still up against the best team in the world that had financial backing more than we did. And Wenger found a way. This manager has to find a way this season. And I like the fact that he came out and said that he thought about quitting. Yeah, I don't think that's PR. You know, I'll call PR out left, right, and centre. The fact that he came out and said that, yeah, I don't think that's a PR move or a little stunt. I actually think that he thought, yo, I failed. Yeah, maybe all of the fans that are chatting absolute BS, yeah, should actually listen to him. He thought about quitting because he failed. He didn't win the league when he was top of the league all season. Yeah, maybe raise your standards to his level, because the one thing I've always said about him, he does get it. He does give a shit. He does care. Yeah, he does want to be the best. But ultimately, it's not always down to him. The ownership might not have got him a player that he wanted, and we end up with somebody else. Caicedo, we end up with Jorginho, for example. Yeah, but a lot of these players are his players. Havertz, definitely, which is why he's going to overplay him this season instead of players like Trossard. And that's why we're not going to win anything, because his own stubbornness will kill him off. Yeah, but then on the flip side of that, he's bringing a goalkeeper in that's better than the goalkeeper we got. So it's like he's so confused. He's bipolar. It's like 1 minute you're showing me something with Timber, and then you're going to drop Zinchenko, and the same with the keeper. But then you're showing me.
Yeah, but I don't think. But that's not about him being bipolar. That's just you and him having a difference. So the thing is, it's like with Man United. Every signing we've made this summer, I'm excited about. Barring Mount, I'm not sure about it. The point is, though, if you don't rate Havertz, and I get why you don't, and I understand that. But you look at all the other signings, well, we're improving there, we're improving here, we're improving there. Your manager believes that you're improving, bringing in Kai Havertz. And I think sometimes as fans, look, we're allowed to scrutinize, we're allowed to criticize. Sometimes, though, I think we need to be less subjective and care less about our own opinions and emotions and just go, I'm just going to hold off on this one and see what happens. Because, as you say, he wants to be the best. He's recognized that he made mistakes. He thought about quitting his job. You're impressed with certain signings that he's made. Clearly, that means there's large elements of him that understands this job, what he needs to do, the technical elements, how to improve the team. Give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit.
Sorry, it's his fourth full season,
right?
And I watched the show yesterday, yeah, with 3 panelists on the show and the host, and they were all asked the question, right? And 3 big faces in the Arsenal community all asked the question, what's the expectation for the season? Well, challenge for the title if we can, maybe try and win a cup. Yeah, but, I'd rather go one step further in the Champions League rather than a quarter get to a semi than win the League Cup. And I was sitting there ripping my hair out, hence why I'm bald. Right? I'm going to be that plug in Turkey soon. Right? Then on the next breath, what's your expectations for the Champions League? One of them said get to the final, and the other 2 said semi-final. And I'm like, none of you lot make sense. And this is what our fan base are like, Terry. Them 3 are exactly mimicking exactly what everyone in this fan base says. If you ask any Arsenal fan, what is the aim, your bare minimum this season that you would accept as a decent season? Not one of them will say a trophy. And if they do say a trophy and he don't win one, they won't hold him accountable. Yeah, then the host then said, when is it acceptable for us to demand winning titles and trophies? One of them then says, well, we have to get that monkey off our back and we have to actually win a trophy. We can't expect trophies until we win trophies. Then in the next breath, they're saying get to a Champions League semi. I've only ever been to 2 in our life.
Do you want to know what I think it is, though, Lee? Do you want to know what
jarring,
I hear you, it's jarring, right? Someone left a comment in on the stream a second ago and said, Terry, Arteta's had enough time now. So firstly,
thank you.
No, I get you. Let me just say, you misinterpreted what I'm saying. I'm saying just give Kai Havertz a little bit of time before he's completely written off or overhyped. I don't mean Arteta needs loads more time. I agree with you that the rebuild is done. It's now you expect to win trophies. The problem that you have, and this is honestly what I think, not everybody, but everybody is scared to give honest opinions because of well, if he doesn't do that, then what's the accountability element at the end of it? Because
that's why their bar's so low, because then if he overachieves,
no. I understand that. And everybody's kind of doing it because they don't want to be put into a situation. So for instance, if someone said it's win the Premier League or bust, that's, for me, it's too much of a blanket statement that holds no room for nuance, because I know you agree with this. If City win the league this year on 99 points and you come second on 98, you wouldn't sack Arteta per se if you were playing brilliantly and you were that good, because the likelihood
we just got unlucky and we lost out by 1 point. And listen, anyone who knows me will know that I'll sit there and go, yo, cool.
I agree. And that's what I mean. And that's the problem when it comes down to what are the expectations is some people, and especially rivals, put this to Arsenal. They do it to me as a Man United fan. They do it because what they're trying to do is set up a situation to create a clip in the future where you have to say, well, I've got to sack the manager again. And I keep saying it to people. I've got expectations on us to close the gap on people at the top and win a trophy this year. But if we don't win a trophy, they're like, well, that means you want to sack out Ten Hag, right? No, I have to wait and see for what else. We have to weigh things up. You look at the FA Cup as an example. If you got drawn away from home in round 3 at Anfield, and then in round 4 you were away at the Old Trafford and get knocked out, you're annoyed, but it's not like you were knocked out playing at home against Luton. And you have to contextualize.
No. I totally disagree with that. Arsenal have won the FA Cup. The last 2 times I think we've won the FA Cup, we've beaten Man City in the semi and Chelsea in the final.
Right.
Yeah, Man City, when we beat them in 2020, were still fantastic. When we beat them in 2017, I think they were on the season, the Centurion season, right? Still beat them. And then we beat record-breaking Chelsea.
I understand you can beat them. The point I'm making is that sometimes cup runs, that's what I mean by context. So you have to review things in real time and not with this kind of, well, if we don't win the FA Cup this season or the League Cup, I want my manager sacked.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Terry, is I'll give an example. I'll give an example, right? We got knocked out to Brighton in the League Cup. I don't matter. The League Cup's beneath us. Yeah, Robbie told everyone, it's beneath a club like Arsenal, mate. We don't want that cup. Yeah, then we get knocked out to Man City in the FA Cup. Oh, well, a bigger fish to fry. Yeah, and I'm sitting there going absolutely nuts on my watch along that we've been knocked out to Man City and we've been knocked out to Brighton. Right, I'm going fuming. Obviously, the Brighton game weren't even on TV, but on certain streams after, I was going nuts because I grew up on the cups, Terry. I've seen my team do a cup double. Yeah?
Bro, I don't disagree.
What you're saying, let me land, right? What you're saying is there has to be, context to it, which is cool. But all I heard all the way through that, and then when we get knocked out by Sporting, is, well, if we don't win the league, then come back and have a go at that. Yeah.
So I agree.
By which time we don't win the league, I come back and have a go at that, and it's, just give him more time, give him more money, go again next season.
I totally agree on that. So I totally agree. During last season, you remember this. I agree with you on the whole bigger fish to fry stuff, and then with the hindsight, like this is the thing for me. We just live in this world now where things are so polarized. I can be angry at my manager today, but still want him to remain as coach. My manager can foul this season, but I still want him to remain as coach because it's about trajectory. Because not everybody. So I'm saying because every season there's only 4 trophies that can be won, and typically there's between 5 to 6 clubs in England that can win them, and of course one of those trophies, all the other European clubs are after as well. So no matter how good your team is, there are going to be seasons where you don't win something if we all keep improving.
And stuff every year, I get that.
However, this is what I would also say, and this is where you're right. You can say my team, my club, my manager fouled without there being an overreaction of get the banners out, fly the planes over, and sack him. And I'm making a sweeping statement. I'm not. You're talking about.
Yeah, I'll dissect. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, because you're speaking about specifics about Arsenal and how you feel. I'm making a sweeping statement. If Pep don't win a trophy this year, that doesn't mean equal sacking him. That's the point I'm making.
Pep's an anomaly, mate.
No. This is why I'm saying that this notion of would you sack your manager if you don't win? Explain to me the context.
Okay, so, I'll give you some context to it. Right, Jurgen Klopp, if he don't win anything this season, should be sacked. Straight up, should be sacked. Yeah, not look at what he's done for the club. Yeah, I remember Brendan Rodgers got Liverpool in a title race. They were the most exciting team in the league that season with Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling, all that up front. Yeah, but they conceded about 50 odd goals. Didn't win the league. Steven Gerrard slips over. Demba Ba, the rest is history. Yeah, right. By October the next season, they sacked him. They didn't go, oh well, we were so close. No. Now let me say about Klopp. Yeah,
go on.
Klopp has got them in a title race year after year after year. He's won one, but he's up against Man City that were just relentless. Centurion season, like 99 points, 98 points, like just 98 or 97, whatever it was. Ridiculous, ridiculous. So there's the context. The context is we went toe-to-toe with Man City, but they just done us by 1 point. But we were in that. Now let's go again. He's won a Champions League. He's been to 3 Champions League finals in his time there. Right? He's been to a Europa League final in his first half season, lost that to Sevilla, Unai Emery. Lost a League Cup final in his first half season as well. First full season he was at Liverpool, he got Champions League football. Yeah, so he got 2 cup finals in his first half season. Then first full season got top 4. Off of the back of that, he gets Champions League final and loses. Off of the back of that, he gets the Champions League final and wins it. Then he's been to another Champions League final in the meantime. He's then won a domestic double. So this season that he's just had, you can go, okay, cool. He's got credit in the bank. Yes, it's very disappointing, but he's got that track record. If he don't win anything this season, he's finished. And if he ain't, then they're going to have another Wenger on their hands.
So I understand your point on that. But so if he comes narrowly second in the Premier League next year and they are looking amazing, they're looking brilliant, but doesn't win it, you say
doesn't win anything,
but they are amazing in the Prem. They're even if he's just behind the people that won it, and they look like they're going to get even better next year because
you're saying it looks like they're going to get even better next year.
Yeah,
you don't know that. Yeah, nobody knows that Arsenal are going to be better from last season. Everyone's hoping Arsenal will be better.
But no one.
Arsenal, I think
it's not about that, Lee. I'll answer your thing. It's not about that. No prediction, whether you think a team's going forward, backwards, or standing still. It's all based on what we know already. So if you see a team getting better and better and better and better and better towards the end, like throughout the course of the season, and then they narrowly miss out on winning the Premier League, and you know they're going to buy again in the summer, the squad's quite young, they look like they're improving. It is not a weird opinion to hold that I think next year we could be even better again. If they have a season like last year again, miss out on Champions League football, struggle with conceding goals, things fall apart in the middle of the campaign, I think you could be absolutely right. I want to ask you as well about some other top 6 managers. If Poch doesn't win a trophy this year, should he be sacked?
No, you give him the summer and you give him the first 10 games.
Why though?
Why? Because he's walked into an absolute shambles, Terry. Yeah, that's probably the worst example you could have given me out of the top 6. He's walked into an absolute shambles.
It's not. I'm not asking why because I don't understand.
No.
I'm pointing out, Lee, you've just given me context. And that's what I'm saying.
I'm giving you context on a manager, Brendan Rodgers, that was in a title race and Gerrard slipped. 3 months into the new season, he lost his job.
Yes, but hang on. But let me respond to that. If Brendan Rodgers the following year was right up at the top of the table again, they were looking even better than they were the previous season, he wouldn't have been sacked. So my point is about Klopp. If next season he's better than this year and he's right up there with the best team in the Premier League and they're getting better and better and better,
where Liverpool were for the last 5 years.
But this is the thing. But then again, he's rebuilding a team again now. You just look.
He didn't win anything for 2 years in a row.
But not
Liverpool Football Club.
Hang on.
Standards have been set.
But if his trajectory is moving towards winning those major
trajectory and actual, let's stop waffling here. The game is about glory. The game is about winning trophies, mate.
Of course it is. Exactly. My point is, if you let me.
It's not about trajectory and.
Of course it is about trajectory. It's all about trajectory.
Winning.
It's all about yes, exactly. So your trajectory. Yes, your trajectory towards winning. So if you're on the edge of winning and you feel you're getting better. Let me ask you a question.
This year, that's 2 years without winning anything.
Let me ask you a question, Lee. Answer me a question. If your team's improving and quickly moving towards winning those major trophies and it's looking good, would you do something to disrupt it that could make it go backwards?
Okay, well, that's a great question. I'm glad you've asked it exactly how you've asked that. If your club is moving forward, well, hold on. He took them so far backwards this season, they didn't get Champions League football. So going back to where you was is not moving forward, is it? It's just the standards have dropped because you got us out the Champions League spots. But now you've put us back where we was. So you ain't moved forward. You've just gone back to level and you ain't won anything along the way for the last 2 years. So it makes no sense. I'll give another example.
But you're trying to win trophies.
Okay, and if Klopp don't win one this season, he should be sacked. That's 2 years without one. Name another big club on the planet.
So you'll apply context to Poch. You'll apply context to Pep, who you say is an anomaly, but you won't apply context to Jurgen Klopp. Why?
No, I've applied context to Klopp. Yeah, Pep's a totally different story.
With Pochettino,
because you're putting words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I want to know, but you have applied context to Jurgen Klopp, but from a negative connotation. You haven't applied positive context to Jurgen Klopp.
Like what I said.
No, I agree with you. I understand. If he doesn't improve this year and they stay where they were and doesn't win anything, I agree. In that context, he should probably lose his job.
No, if they finish second and miss out on the title by 1 point, they come back to where they were 3 years ago.
What you do, Lee, is this, Lee, what you always do, it's progress from where they were last year towards winning the trophy.
It took them so far backwards, Terry.
So you don't think a manager, if they have a bad year, should ever be given the chance to improve themselves again?
My mouth. You're doing mental gymnastics.
Hang on, no, I'm not. That's exactly what you've just said. You've said to me.
He had a year where he's took him backwards.
Hang on, Lee. Stop, Lee. You've just said to me, Jurgen Klopp took them backwards last year. Even if he progresses them back to challenging for the title again next year, where they look brilliant and they look very, very good indeed. But if they don't win anything at the end of it, you'd still sack him. That for me is not. But so how am I putting words into your mouth? You literally said that.
No, but Terry, you're saying that what you have said there.
What I said, Lee, is you're not allowing. You've said that a manager Klopp doesn't deserve the chance to improve on last year's failure.
Well, he does because he's got the whole season this season. If he don't win anything, he's not improved, does he? So he's sacked.
But he has. But you could improve on last year.
No, could
make the team better.
Winning something.
You can get them. Yeah, but it's not. Listen, it's not as basic and it's not as basic as you're making out.
It was a basic game. You either win or you lose.
No, yes, I understand that. But why are you taking out of context where a team sits, the progression of that team, the trajectory, the direction that they're moving in?
You're just not letting me finish.
You literally just
Jurgen Klopp had that team in title race. They won Champions League. They've been to multiple finals in all competitions. They've won a cup double. Yeah, they've won a league title. They've won a Champions League. He's then took them to fifth, I think it was, wasn't it? Fifth they finished. So now he's got the opportunity to rectify that and have another whole season after a summer spend to now go and win something. So he's now got one season where he's been crap and he's took them so far backwards from what the standard was. But now we'll give you another load of dough. You better win something this season. So you've got the whole season. And if you don't win something, that's now 2 seasons. Sorry, mate. Adios, amigo. Done. There's your context.
No context.
Well, it is context. He's had 2 seasons and won nothing.
Again, like I've said, you have to assess where they finish. This is just my opinion. Where they finish, what they do, where they're at, how they performed in other competitions, and the trajectory that they're going in, the way that the dressing room feels about him. And I'll give you an example in that is your own manager. Now, if he doesn't win anything, then fair play. But there was a time where everybody believed he'd lost your dressing room. Nobody was playing for him. They wouldn't progress and move forward. And look where they are now, at a point where some people, including Gary Neville today, have predicted you to win the Premier League next year.
Well, Gary Neville's always going to twerk for Arsenal after getting bombarded last season.
I don't know about that, but okay. I'm just saying though, right? I'm just saying this. I understand where you're coming from, and this is where I think me and you miss each other sometimes. The context you apply to Jurgen Klopp, I agree with, but this is the thing with context. Context can come in multiple forms. You could literally sit there and create 100 different variant. Hang on. No, it's not based on your emotion. No, but exactly. Facts don't care, but you're not letting me finish. It's not about your emotions. No, exactly. So let me finish your statement of a straight fact. The context can be 100 different scenarios because the context is the facts of the situation. And until I know exactly what happened, it's very difficult ahead of time to judge with a sweeping statement of, if you don't win a trophy, I would just sack you. There are so many anomalies that you have to consider and put into consideration before sacking somebody. In my personal opinion.
I totally agree. But when you've been...
So you wouldn't sack Poch. But I tell you where you would sack Poch, if he finished 15th.
No, I wouldn't.
So you're telling me if Poch took Chelsea even further back, by the way, then if he took them even further back and they were even worse than they were last year, you wouldn't sack Poch.
Terry, every manager that comes into a football club, like obviously Arteta's different. It's my football club. When I look at other football clubs, I judge them differently to the attachment I have to my football club. Yeah. So I take my Arsenal cap off and I go, right, Poch has got the job. That geezer who owns that football club is an absolute cowboy. He ain't got a Scooby-Doo what he's doing, really. Yeah, it's an absolute mess. They got 40 players on their books. He's come into it. Yeah, he's now got one of his star men out injured for 4 months. right? They've not got a striker. What are they doing with midfield? Caicedo, this and that. If he takes them to 15th, you give him another transfer window. And after 10 games, if he's still nowhere near being up at the top of the table, sack him. You've now given him just over a year. You've given him the backing. You've given him the players he needs, striker-wise, midfielders, whatever, defenders. Then you sack him. With Jurgen Klopp, it's different. Jurgen Klopp came into that football club, got into 2 finals straight away, first full season top 4, 2 Champions League finals back-to-back, won a Premier League, been in a title race every year, then done a cup double, is then took them all the way backwards. So now it's seen as success if he gets them back in a title race. No, the standards were set by him by doing what he was doing. Now he's fallen off of that. You go, okay, cool. Maybe that was just a freak season for Liverpool. Yeah? So now you give him another go. You give him the whole season because he's built that credit in the bank of winning titles, trophies, getting used to finals. But then if he doesn't succeed, i.e. lifting trophies at the end of that next season, that is now 2 seasons. Sorry, mate. See you later. With Poch, it's different. He's only just got there.
Did you
give him a bit of time?
I'm asking a genuine question here. Did you give Arteta that leeway after his first season? I don't think you
I judge other football clubs differently to how I judge my club.
I thought I'm not trying to catch you out. I'm asking, Lee, sometimes not everyone's trying to catch you out. I'm asking a genuine question to make sure I heard it. So
I didn't want Arteta at all.
So what you're actually saying is you don't judge Arsenal based on facts. You judge it based on emotion.
I judge Arsenal based on the fact, we're on our longest trophy drought for a decade. Yeah, a decade.
You're too emotional, Lee.
No, I also, after the first full season, he won an FA Cup. And if you go and watch my FA Cup live watch along that day, I was the happiest man on the planet. Even though I didn't like the manager, I still don't particularly rate him that highly.
I understand that. I
was the happiest guy on the planet because you know what? He actually delivered what the aim of the game is, a trophy. And all of this emotion, cool. With my club, yes, I am emotionally invested in my football club. Yeah, but the facts don't care about my emotions. The facts are he finished 8th in his first full season. The second season, first season. The second season, his first full season, he finished 8th again.
I know.
So
but you do realize if he ends up winning the Premier League, it is a thumb in the eye to people to think you should just sack managers straight off the bat. But listen, we're going to go to some of these super chats here. First one says, wasn't Lee ready to sack Ten Hag for United in his first season? You were, Lee. You didn't want to give him. You said he should have been sacked.
Yeah, but again, context. Yeah, context. He bombs out the club, Cristiano Ronaldo, but then he doesn't strip Harry Maguire of the captain's armband. He just benched him because it was a weak, easy way out. Yeah. But having said that, I probably was a bit hasty on that, and I am going to hold my hands up. He did win a trophy, which is the aim. There you go. Clip that, KJ.
Lee Dunner has admitted he was wrong. He knows. Do you know what happened? You were talking there, Lee, and I could hear you going, shit, I can't get out of this one.
No, I can get out of it, sir. I can get out of any situation.
But he's right, though. So for what you see, this is what I'm saying, though.
He competed for 3 cups.
No, but Lee,
and he won one of them.
Lee, but you've just proven me right?
But
hang on a minute. Our manager improved our league position, won us a trophy, but because of the context of how he managed the Maguire situation, Ronaldo situation, and some of our big, hang on, and because of I'm going to tell you, and because of some of our big defeats, your context was that's still enough to sack him. But with Poch, you're like, well, no, even if they go backwards, he should be given another year. And this is what the point I'm making about the context can be 100 different things. What if Poch takes them to 15th, but they have their 3 biggest defeats in history and he fucks up the captaincy, the same as Ten Hag? Then would you sack Poch?
Probably, yeah.
But this is my point.
But at the same time, Terry, Poch has inherited a team that finished 12th. Ten Hag didn't.
He inherited a team, though, that had their worst season in 40 years.
Yeah, and then he took them to their biggest defeat in their history. Yeah, right. He was the only manager ever in Premier League history to be 4-0 down twice at half-time.
Right.
Yeah. He messed up the captaincy, right? He messed up the captaincy. Biggest defeat. Yes, he did. Right.
But I don't care about any of that context. He won a trophy.
He won
a trophy. He won a trophy. That's the context, right?
He won a trophy, which is why he gets another go. But at the same time, yeah, you had your biggest defeat ever in football history in your lifetime. Yeah, to your rivals. Yeah, not only that, you had your biggest Europa League defeat ever. to Sevilla.
Listen, as I say, just
4-0 down at half-time twice. So whilst it's all great that he's won a trophy, yeah, and there is context with that, yes, that's the aim of the game. On the flip side of that, he did spend quite a bit of dough, and he did inherit a better team than Pochettino's inherited. He inherited a team that didn't finish 12th. He inherited a team that finished, 7th? Yeah.
My bro, listen,
there was a better platform of player there. So there's always context there.
I get it, and it's exactly my point. You have to have all the context before you make a decision on these things.
Which is great, but at the same time, this is big boy Man United. Yeah, this is not some Tim Pot little outfit.
But we're talking. We've been talking about Chelsea and Liverpool, who are also massive. Yeah. I want to get some more of these super chats here. This one here says, "Give me a little bomb sound, Terry." I got him. Okay, I'll give you the bomb sound. Is this the one? There we go. You got him there. I remember all rats.
I win every time.
Remember, all rats must die, even Master Splinter. Leave Master Splinter alone, bro.
Leave my rat alone.
Lee has sniffed so much that he's lost his mind. Also needs to wipe that mess away from his mouth for a Man United fan he just had on the channel. Look, Rants is quality, man. Lee, I know you have to agree with Rants, but listen, I always say to people that the word of Leon. Like,
me and Rants, it's always banter, and we rattle so many people because they're all in their feelings. They don't like truthful information. Yeah, they'd rather live in Disneyland than Fantasyland, and everything's vibes and unicorns and sparkles. No, the fact is, win stuff, or you should be sacked.
This here says, as an Arsenal fan, I want to push for the Prem all the way, FA Cup and Carabao Cup and semis in the Champions League minimum. Arsenal online fan base are the most kids, is what Kelvin says here.
Can I just say something to that comment? Champions League semi-final. Can you tell me what makes you think that Arsenal are having only ever got to 2 semis? One, we then progressed to the final and lost. The other semi, we got pammed by Man United. What makes anybody think that Arsenal can get to a Champions League semi-final? I'm sorry, I'm lost here. There's no evidence in 20-odd attempts other than twice out of 20-odd attempts. And all of a sudden, the first season back in it, everyone's going, right, yeah, cool, semi. I'm realistic. I want to win it. Of course I want to win it. But the amount of people I'm seeing saying Champions League semi-final, get to a couple of semis or quarters in the cups and be in a tight... Have you seen our bench? The bench is the same as last year.
I think you guys, listen, look, I look at it this way. I understand where you're coming from. But it's not as though Europe is full of other teams that are amazing. Like Real Madrid are always going to be a threat. Barca are a decent team. Bayern Munich might be, I don't know about Bayern Munich even being stronger next year. Who they bought? They've bought a good defender in. They haven't improved their front line at all. So I do look at it as though you look at the English teams that are in it next year. If you improve last year like you did I don't see why you can't be looked at as, I know you haven't won it, but why you can't be looked at as one of the biggest teams in it? Because I don't think there's much of a threat across Europe. There's not many other threats.
Do you know why? Olympiacos, Villarreal, Sporting Lisbon. That's Arteta's European pedigree, mate. And now we're going up against the best of the best. Yeah, and that stream that I was talking about where everyone was saying Champions League semi, obviously he's watched that stream. That's why he's saying it. Yeah, but on that same stream, the very same people were sitting there, oh, well, Real Madrid are not a threat. I don't really see them like that anymore. And I'm like, you clearly do not watch Real Madrid. I've watched them all pre-season. I watch them every single week. They've added Jude Bellingham into that team and he's playing basically as a 10. They've got Modric and Kroos sitting deeper. They've got Vinicius Jr. Mate, they're winning everything next season. Trust me. That club will win everything. And if they get Mbappe, it's nailed on. You might as well just give them the trophies.
This year says, big up Lee, an Arsenal fan with standards compared to that Arsenal fan from yesterday, Rory. Yeah, we have Rory Talks Football that's on our top 6 shows now, who thinks about Odegaard songs in the shower. Oh, was that him?
I prefer not to speak, mate. Yeah, if I speak, yeah.
You know me though, right? Because like I get on with Rory, I get on with you. It's all good. You know me. I don't do any because you know for a fact
we're adults. Come on.
And I don't sit there behind the scenes chatting about. I mean, I don't talk to you about any other YouTubers. If we talk off this, we talk about other things. But yeah, big up SG. Thank you, bro. Lee, Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal winning the league this season.
Nope. There's only one team that's serious, and that's Man City. And that's why they're winning.
you guys are about to get Raya. You may go for somebody else. You've been so serious this summer, bro. I think you got a great chance.
Okay, let me dissect it to you in simple terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at our most used players in the Europa League last season, Turner, well, we just sold him. Fabio Vieira, well, he ain't good enough. Eddie Nketiah, well, he ain't good enough. Who else was there? Can't remember the other one. There was another one. But anyway, my point is we can't be playing them players in the Champions League. We have to play our first 11 because it's a higher level of competition. Can't be throwing it away. So straight away, you're looking at the bench and you're going, right, okay, we've got our first 11 and on paper it looks fantastic. It looks great. It looks cool. But is it better than City's? No, it ain't. But now you have to find a way. The manager has to find a way. Wenger found a way against Fergie. Simeone found a way against Real Madrid and Barcelona. You find a way, yeah? But then I look at the bench and I think, still got Eddie Nketiah on there. Still got Fabio Vieira on there. Still got Smith Rowe sat on there. Yeah, still got Trossard, cool. Yeah, Jorginho, Tierney. Where's what? Timber. Okay, well, Timber may be starting, which means Zinchenko will be on the bench. I don't see where we've got this massive fantasy in our head that Arsenal have bridged the gap and we're going to go for this. I don't see it, Terry. I live in reality, mate.
I get that you do. I think there's a lot more to come from Fabio Vieira this season. I think you'll see a big improvement in him. I think Timber is a top player. I think once Rice settles, he's a game changer for you. You already scored. Listen, you scored. I read the other day that you scored more goals last season than any other Premier League season in your club's history. This idea that you need another big goal scorer, I think, is a fallacy. I think you've got enough goals in this team. I think you'll score anywhere between 85 to 95 goals this season. Easily.
Not at all. I'll tell you why, right?
Based on what?
Based on the fact that Granit Xhaka got 7 of them goals. And he ain't here anymore. Is Declan Rice getting 7 goals? No, he ain't. He's never scored 7 in a Premier League season. So straight away, we're on the back foot.
He's never played for a team as good as Arsenal where he's been able to progress forward in that same way.
That's fantastic. But Terry, please, right? I'm looking at it thinking Martin Odegaard had his best ever season in terms of output.
Yep.
Is he going to go up again a level? Maybe. Saka, maybe. Martinelli, maybe. Kai Havertz was second worst for big chances missed last season. Well, so far, I see 2 big chances missed in the Shield at the weekend. So we know he ain't going to get 15, 20 goals. Jesus is out injured, just had knee surgery after having knee surgery. Yeah, so he ain't going to get 20 goals. And if you look at any top team in Europe, Man City have got 30 goal plus. Well, 52 last season. Yeah, then you look at Barcelona, they got Lewandowski. Real Madrid had Benzema.
I understand that. Can I ask you a question about Xhaka, though? Up until last season where your team got back to a very high level, did Xhaka ever score 7 goals a season for you?
No, he didn't.
So why can't
Declan Rice can't? But Declan Rice is better off the ball and recovering the ball than he is on the ball, in my opinion. Declan Rice is a top footballer. Yeah. But in terms of passing, in terms of striking a ball, Xhaka's better than him. Everything else about Xhaka's game is worse, in my opinion. But them 2 attributes, I think he's better than Declan Rice.
Declan Rice scored 4 goals last season for West Ham. I think he could get 5, 6, 7 goals for Arsenal this year. Better team, more aggressive, more opportunities to score than West Ham. I think he could. He got 5 goals last season. 5 goals the year before.
This is all great, Terry, right? Everyone's saying that we're going to score loads of goals. Everyone's saying that we've definitely bridged the gap. Everyone's saying that we're going to find a way. Everyone's saying that we've got to get to a Champions League semi. Everyone's saying that we're going to go for a title race. Cool. Now ask them, what is the bare minimum you will accept? And not one of them mentions a trophy. Not one of them. I had a conversation with Rance before I come on here, and he said, because it's 5 spots for Champions League. He said, I couldn't give a toss if I finished 2nd or 5th, as long as I win something. If we ain't going to win the title, what's the difference between finishing 2nd and 5th if you win an FA Cup? It's no different. But when you ask these people, what is the bare minimum you will accept? Just get back in the Champions League and have a bit of a title run.
Well,
that's
again,
it. Say trophies, Terry.
So I understand that. I understand where your logic sees that. Again, I think it's context because the season where Liverpool came second behind on 97 points, behind 98 points of City, Liverpool weren't the same as a team in 3rd place because Liverpool got to a point where you could conceivably see them winning the Premier League the following year. If you come fifth and you're 30 points off the top, there is a fundamental difference. The team that came fifth last year, who was it? Who came fifth last year? Liverpool. There was a fundamental difference between you and them last season. So I'd much rather be in your position in terms of where you are, your trajectory, than the team in fifth. But I also understand where you're coming from. That if you get Champions League qualifications, you want to win trophies. What I want is Champions League qualification and my club progressing to a point where I think I can win it. I want to go to some more super chats here because there's quite a lot of them. First one says, thoughts on Balogun out and Kudus in. Would you do that, Lee?
No.
You'd keep. I know you rate Balogun. I know you'd like to keep him at the club.
Yep.
Brighton had no ground, but now are holding their own in the Premier League. This is why their praise is relative to their club size. Mikel has to play Trossard as the 9, not Kai Havertz.
Again, I don't care about the fairy tale. Yeah, win stuff. Big up though. He's spot on about Kai Havertz and Trossard. Trossard should be starting.
Viewer, just remember Lee. Lee doesn't care about the journey. Like Lee doesn't watch movies. Lee don't watch the movies. Lee don't watch movies. Lee doesn't watch the movies. He just watched the last 5 minutes and the credits, and then see what happens.
Sorry, I don't even own a TV. Now, I don't watch movies. If I want to watch anything, I'll watch YouTube. Yeah, and there's not really much I want to watch on that either.
But yeah, you don't like the story, do you? You don't like the story.
I'm interested in the fairy tale. Nobody cares. It's not about fairy tales. It's about winning trophies. That's it.
Can I ask you a question? So, who's your favorite singer, like individual singer?
What genre, Tell? I'm more of a garage type of person.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you mine. So I'm a massive fan of Stevie Wonder. But so is there a singer or a person like that you like?
I like Oasis. Yeah, Oasis.
Okay, wait. So are you not interested at all in the story of how they got to be Oasis and how they got there and did it all?
I'm interested one bit.
Okay, so and that's fair, right? I think in sport, though, like all those things, if you're interested in being a musician, you should be interested in how people get to where they get to because you learn from it. The reason why I think the story is so important because it explains how you get to where you are. Because Pep Guardiola and Man City, who you look at as the pinnacle, Real Madrid is where they are now. They didn't wake up in 2003 and were where they were. They had to there's multiple steps to get there. So if you ignore all those steps, you're never going to get to that point. You can't become Real Madrid without going through the step changes. But yeah, that's what I think.
You've used Real Madrid, and I know that club inside out. Yeah. They founded the Champions League. They would have found a member of the Champions League, the European Cup. Right? Wait. They would have found a member of that European Cup. And they won the first 5, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And they've won 14 in total.
So they were massive when they were like some of the early clubs that formed were massive when they formed, and some of them have stayed massive. The point I'm making is though,
why have they stayed massive?
Again, but they had the foundation to begin with. No, I understand that, Lee. I understand that, but there's still a story behind it. If you're like, I don't care how they got to where they got to, I just care they're there. That's fair enough. I don't want to debate it. I'm just saying that's your way, and I respect it.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a lot of people in the chat saying, "Oh, he ain't got a soul. He's so miserable." He says, "I'm actually the happiest person on the planet because every day I wake up happy. I might be less happy than I was yesterday, but I'm happy every day."
Yeah, I hear you on that. This here says, when City started spending money from 2008 after the takeover, they didn't win everything. They didn't win anything for the first 3 years. Have faith in Arteta. Lee, he's cooking.
Yeah, salmonella, mate.
Lee.
Wait, no. Can I just say one thing here, right? He's saying that they didn't win everything until 3 years later. No, they actually were winning.
No, they didn't win anything for the first 3 years.
Okay, but then they started winning, yeah?
Yes.
But you're talking about a football club that have gone from being potless, yeah, to now being billionaires and having all the riches in the world, yeah? We've already got the riches in the world. So why has it got to take us 3 years? Not only that, name me another manager in world football, in the history of world football, that has been given such a free pass with nearly 700 million quid spent with no expectations to win anything in his full season.
So look, fans not giving him. So fans not giving him expectations. I do understand where you're coming from there. Jamie says, Terry, don't you find it a bit sus how Roy Keane is back at our club? Personally, I think there's something going on behind the scenes with Qatar. Jamie, let me tell you this. Roy Keane is back because between Man United and Adidas have offered him enough money. And if Man United offered him even more money to do a sit down and him and Fergie to shake hands and hug, he'd also take the money and do it.
I actually disagree. I don't think he would. I think he can't stand him, mate.
No, I think
I don't think you could throw enough money at him to get him to do that.
I think you can. Look, Roy Keane I love, and he makes me laugh on camera. I think 85-90% of his persona on camera is pantomime. So yeah, I get what you mean.
I think he's the best pundit out there because you know what? He actually gets it.
So, this is so much hot air. Get in the bin is what the Jason Martin says.
Listen, factual information. Don't care about fantasies, mate.
Context only for Poch. Poch X Lee love. Oh, Poch and Lee love this season is what Anthony says.
Not at all, because I've sat on there many times, and said he's an average manager. I've said that many times.
I hear you, bro. This says behind that anger, Lee is excited about this year, is what Gavin believes.
I'm not. I've already accepted we're winning nothing, mate. I'm excited about building up my second channel so I can F the first one off. That's what I'm excited about, mate. Yeah, I'll be doing a watch along for Man City Burnley at the weekend or Friday night. I'm interested in building that one up so that's the main channel because I am tired, mate.
This year says I'm an Arsenal fan. Warren says I'm an Arsenal fan and want a league title at minimum this season. Not all of us are the same, Lee. Whether we will be is another question. Thank you, Warren, for that super chat, bro. This here says literally mentioned a cup in my last super chat. Bollocks is what Calvin says back to you. Fair play. Man City got less goals with Haaland than the year before. Lee is just too simple. He don't get it.
Well, I do get it. Man City have won 5 out of the last 6 titles, mate. Yeah. Do you think their fans give a crap? Yeah, Mahrez was their top scorer 2 seasons before Haaland rocked up. He was sat on the bench all season. Yeah. They've just got 30 million quid for a 32-year-old. Yeah, we're selling Granit Xhaka for 15, 20 mil. Make that make sense. Yeah, because they're a proper football club that get the aim of the game. Yeah, all these storylines and all these opinions that everyone want to keep throwing in is great and it makes for a good show. But ultimately, the metrics for success are trophies. And nothing anyone can waffle about is going to change that.
Unless they don't get the captaincy pick right.
Unless, Terry. I swear to God. Right. The metrics for success have been set in stone since the dawn of time. Trophy is success. No trophy is failure. All of this waffling and storylines, and all of these opinions are not needed. Because you've either won a trophy or you've lost. That's it.
So can I ask you a question then? So if in the build-up to a team winning very much to winning major trophies and being highly successful, there's a blueprint that's created, and you look at your team and they say they're 2 years into that 3-year process of becoming successful of winning trophies. And I'm not talking Arsenal, I'm just talking general here. You don't think it's okay for fans to go, look, there's multiple blueprints of how it works and how you get to this level. We're on that journey, so I'm going to put faith in it. You don't think that's worthwhile doing? You don't think the stories and the process matter at all?
How did Portsmouth win an FA Cup? How did Wigan win an FA Cup against Man City, by the way? How is that? How could they compete with Man City in a cup final? Yeah. The point is, Terry, it's about winning trophies. I don't care about anything other than winning trophies. Yeah. And the reason I've gone down this, I want trophy, because this football club smashed that stadium down to be like Madrid. And the amount of people I see in this chat every week, why do you compare it to Madrid? No, I don't care about... Terry, why is it you have to build something to get to the trophy? Why can't you just win the trophy?
Because everybody builds to win the trophies. Some teams are just maintain that. So even Real Madrid, who started off by winning, they started off and they kept themselves there. At the end of the day, the people running your football... Hang on, bro. The people running your football club now were not the people that knocked the stadium down. They were not the people that were running the football club. And they had to rebuild it after the disaster that those people created. And we've been through this many, many times before. So there's a process to every individual athlete and every club that wins something. You look at the England's female football team. How much better are we now compared to 10 years ago? But there's a story behind how we got there. There's a process. Look how much better the Jamaicans and the Nigerians have been at the Women's World Cup this year. There's a story behind how they're improving. And that matters because it creates a blueprint for others. So I do think it plays an important part in sport. Having been an athlete myself, there are, and I know you don't care unless you're winning, but there is a story behind it. I think that matters. I want to go to some more of these chats here. This says Trossard only scored 1 last season for Arsenal. Theoretically, he can replace Xhaka's output. Big up, boys, even though I don't get Lee with a laughing emoji.
Nobody gets me. I'm too real for people, mate. I don't like facts. Yeah. No, I am. Terry, I know I'm Marmite. You either like me or you hate me. I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm not trying to impress anyone. Yeah,
I love this comment here. Look at this comment here. It says, "Life's too short for processes to bang." My G Lee Gunner is from Sharek there.
This is the point, right? I just look here and say that all of this trust the process. Oh, we have to build. It's progression. That is just all by design. Oh, it's a young squad. It's a young manager. How about go and get the best manager and the best players, mate? How about that?
So listen, bro, this is what I say to you. This is the thing, Lee. This is what I love about you. There's elements of what you're saying that I absolutely agree with. But then there are nuances and grey areas and context that are very, very important as well. And I'll give you an example. I'll take it away from Arsenal because I know that you don't look at Arsenal with objectively. You're very subjective with them, very emotional with them. A Man United, a rival fan said to me, well, what's the point of buying Højlund? You need to go and get someone at Haaland's level. There is no one.
Yeah, there is. So, Harry Kane.
Harry Kane don't score the same amount of goals that Haaland does, right? And at the end of the day, he's not attainable for Manchester United. He's not playing
in a better team. You just said a minute ago, if he's playing in a better team, he'd get a better output.
He might do. I don't think he'll score as many as Haaland. But the point I'm making is he's unattainable for us because context and nuance, because of how much money he would cost and the lack of money that's at the club because of a decade of mismanagement. So the point is,
spent 180 million and sold no one, mate.
Hang on a minute. It isn't available because we have to fill other areas of the football pitch as well. The context is because of 10 years of failure before this manager arrived, there is a lack of funds. Not because we haven't spent money, but because we've wasted it on people and we very rarely recoup the money that we've spent. So it isn't as simple as just, we'll go and buy Kane then. Because we want to, but you're looking at £140 million plus 500k a week. And that would mean we don't fill other key areas in the team and we still have holes and problems. And that's the point I'm making. You have to contextualize things. This here says, guys, would you rate the Community Shield if it changed to a proper English Super Cup? No. P.S. Gunner, I am banned for the Roger. From the Doug comment.
No,
you're not banned. I said you look like Roger.
Maybe it's not about my channel. I'll have a look, mate. I'll have a look. But no, I wouldn't. I don't rate that competition. It's a glorified soccer raid. It's a charity game. No matter how much the superfan channel owner wants to dress it up about prize money. Yeah. Sorry, mate. You can dress it up as much as
it's a mad one.
It's the money going in your bank. It ain't, is it? Yeah.
This here said Tierney dropped a stinker, not technical enough to start. For Arsenal should be used to close games out. New signings look good. I think they will do it this year. Is what
should be used to see games out. That's why we brought him on. Yeah,
I think he's just saying that. Yeah,
Tom dropped a stinker. He didn't drop a stinker. He was put in the shit by a midfielder who's our most important midfielder, Thomas Partey, with a poor pass. Yeah, Trossard not backtracking, and then he just tried to get something on it and slipped as he did it. Yeah, but. Don't worry about Gabriel Magalhaes doing the splits and being 4 foot off the ground instead of 6'3" off the ground. Don't worry about the goalkeeper. It was not in the top bins. It was just off right centre. Yeah, and he was 4 foot off the ground.
Yeah,
it's Tierney's fault. Tierney, the same player, by the way. Yeah, that's not played hardly any football because this manager doesn't rate him. He wants to do this inverted hipster crap.
Just in the interest of time, because I've got to shoot out soon. This says, first of all, Lee is wrong. Rodgers didn't get sacked after Liverpool challenged the Premier League. He was there the next season and finished 6th and then got sacked the following campaign.
Fair enough.
This year says,
so he had one more season to prove himself and then got potted.
Yeah, after 2 seasons of not winning anything. Yeah.
There you go. It's a bit like Boston.
Hey, Terry, where did you get that shirt? This is from Boohoo Man, actually. Lee secretly smiling inside, knowing he will be hearing the Champions League anthem again.
Bro, I prefer not, mate. I prefer not to speak.
George here says, if all clubs sack their managers for not winning stuff, ultimately next year you'll employ a manager that got sacked for the exact same reason you sacked your previous manager.
Yeah. Well done. You get it. Pochettino got sacked from PSG. Are Chelsea fans happy he's their manager? Of course they are. Yeah. Ancelotti got sacked from Everton. Real Madrid happy with the 6 trophies he's won in 2 years?
What happens with a top-class manager if he gets sacked 3 seasons on the bounce because he didn't win anything, and then he's coming into your club, 3 clubs, no trophies? Then he wouldn't even get a job, would he? And then no one would get jobs and build up experience.
After 3 seconds on the spin for not winning anything, you don't deserve a job.
Ancelotti got sacked from Everton. But then there's no... Ancelotti didn't get sacked from Everton. He left.
Right. He left Everton. Sorry, I'm lying. He left Everton. Yeah. And Arsenal fans sat there en masse telling me, oh, but he didn't do anything at Napoli, didn't do anything at Everton. He's gone back to Real Madrid and won 6 trophies in 2 seasons. And guess what? Because only won this season, they wanted him sacked. He's lucky he's got a job.
Lee, you are so negative. I hope you back it up and don't celebrate during the live match streams. Arsenal seem to not deserve it.
I'm not negative, mate. You're just in your feelings. Yeah. Like I've said, and I'll say it one more time for the cheap seats at the back. Longest trophy drought for a decade. Yeah. Longest title drought in our history. 29 years without a European trophy. What am I supposed to be so buzzing about?
I hear you on that. Just some breaking news to give you all as well. David Raya to Arsenal is a done deal. Here we go. Over the line. Confirmed by
£700 million spent.
Yep.
700s. Yeah. No pressure. 700 mil. Do you remember when Ten Hag got the job and Arsenal fans were sitting online saying, yeah, but he inherited £1 billion squad, yeah, and he spent 200 million. Now he's done 430 million, yeah? Right? Ooh, okay, well, we've got the most valuable squad in the world. We've done 700 million. We're on our longest title drought in our history, longest trophy drought for a decade. When can I actually, and nobody can give me the answer to this, Terry.
I hear you on that.
Actually demand success without anyone being an idiot about it.
I hear you on that. I've actually got to shoot out very, very soon, so I've got to get through these super chats here. Tierney is overrated. It's only the Arteta out dweebs who pretend to rate him so they can have a pop at the manager. He was poor when he played last season, is what Gig says here.
Yeah. He's won more trophies at Arsenal than Bukayo Saka, mate. Have that.
Look, Lee Gunner is spitting facts as usual. He is right about Zinchenko from the beginning. Big up the Rat Army. Thank you, Solid. I appreciate that, bro. The issue with winning trophies, we've seen the FA Cup's paper over cracks for years. If we finish 8th with an FA Cup, that feels like we've gone backwards.
Disagree. A Premier League spreadsheet is irrelevant, mate. That's all it is. If you ain't won the league, it's just numbers on a spreadsheet.
I just think both those scenarios, context is required.
Had a better season. Arsenal or West Ham last season. West Ham, they won a trophy. Doesn't matter if they finished 15th. They won a trophy. We didn't.
So you'd rather swap places with West Ham last year?
Terry, what's the difference between 2nd and 15th?
No, answer my question. So yes, you'd rather swap places with West Ham. Cool.
I want to win a trophy.
I'm just asking questions. Just answer them.
When we won the cup double, we finished 12th, I think.
VV3 here says Eric Ten Hag's success, 1 Premier League title every 3 years minimum, 2 cups and 2 top 3 successes. That's my successful target for Ten Hag. What's yours, Terry and Lee? Listen, I want trophies every year. I'd love the Premier League every year, but that isn't realistic. Fergie didn't even do it every year. So over the next 3 seasons, if we won 1 Prem, 2 or 3 more domestic trophies and a Champions League, I'd say that's a good 2 to 3 year period.
I've supported Arsenal 35 years and I've seen us win 17 trophies. I'm not including Community Shields. 17 trophies. That's 1 every 2 years. We'll just manage a better win something this year. Otherwise, that's in the bin.
The trophy cabinets are not made for stories. But they are though. No, but they are. Man, the story. Hang on. The story of my club's treble-winning season is literally why it matters so much. The story behind it.
Book there, Terry, it's a trophy, and it says Champions League winner or Premier League winner this year.
It's the story. It's the story behind it which gives it the emotion that makes us so happy.
Which is why
how many goals do you think will be scored this season, Prem and all comps for Arsenal? Have a guess, Lee.
Less than last year.
There we go. Thank you for that super chat there, my friend. I appreciate that. Kind of to each other, but thank you very much indeed. Lee, 100,000 in your pocket, or Arsenal win the Champions League or Premier League?
Arsenal win the Champions League or Premier League. I can make 100 grand, so
there we go.
Win the trophy.
Afternoon, Terry, did Lee not say Real Madrid are going to sack their manager?
Yep, and I'm baffled that they didn't, because their fans still want him out. Yeah, and now he's gone and got the job for Brazil, so he's going to be gone. Yeah, I'm baffled they didn't sack him.
From you, Lee, just before the end of the show, I want to ask you, what is your predictions for the top 5 league positions this season, going from 5th to 1st, bro?
5th, Chelsea.
Chelsea 5th.
4th, Liverpool. 3rd, Arsenal. 2nd, Man United. And Man City walk the title.
There we go, people. Lock that in. That's Lee's predictions. One more super chat says, Terry, name 5 of the 10 largest states in terms of total area in the United States. Oh, my God. Alaska, Texas, Nevada. California's pretty big, isn't it? Pennsylvania's pretty big. Illinois is pretty big. I don't know enough. But thank you for the super chat, bro. It means a great deal to me. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in today. Do us a big favor and smash the like button before you leave and subscribe. Lee, always a pleasure to talk football. I love having a Barney with you. It's great, mate. It's one of the highlights of my week. Everyone who's tuned in, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again